Good morning, good morning, good morning. My name is Sean Dexter and I welcome you back to the Mango Grove for your daily analysis video. Bitcoin confusing everybody, shooting up, shooting down, everybody with a frown. Everybody is confused. Which way does Bitcoin really want to go? Let's ask the Mango dashboard, shall we? Well, the dashboard is staying short, so I guess we still say short, right? That's all we do. Nope, that's not what we do. Over here at the Mango Grove, we know better. We look at the charts through a more holistic approach and never ever rely on one single indicator. No matter how powerful we think that indicator may be, no matter how powerful that edge may be, because remember guys, everything is a probability game and you don't want to be caught on the wrong side of the probability because you got too lazy to look at the holistic approach. So what is the holistic view telling us? Well, let's look at the entire dashboard, shall we? And well, everything is actually saying green, 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 but not just being green, 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 green. It's also long on a lot of assets, right? Ethereum is still saying long. In fact, what is that? BNB making the top of the list, actually even in front of Link USD. Wow. That's something. Actually, this isn't too surprising to me at all. I did bring up BNB in the Mango Seed program chat a couple of days ago. Was it 3 days ago? I am not sure. Essentially, I pulled up the correlation chart between the top pairs. Let me pull it up for you guys here. I have it prepared right over here. I hope you guys can see this. Here we have a correlation chart between BTC, XRP, BCH, BSV, LTC, EOS, BNB, XTZ. And if you look at the correlation between all these altcoins compared to BTC, and the correlation was pretty high up there, right? 0.95, 0.96, except for BNB, 0.07 to BTC, and its correlation to other assets by the nature of it is also going to be very low because all these other assets are correlated to BTC very, very high. If you're getting confused by what I'm saying, essentially, all these other assets, altcoins rather, Ethereum, XRP, etc., move in tandem with Bitcoin. BNB recently has not been doing that, all right, and that was very, very interesting behavior to me. Why? It's because the last bear market, right, I started noticing behavior from BNB was very, very different to the other altcoins. In fact, BNB was one of the first coins that I actually started taking trades on towards the long side because BNB led the previous market out of the bear market. And if you guys have been following me since last year, you guys will remember that BNB was one of our big trades. Everybody else was getting onto the bandwagon far later, and we were getting in. My first initial position was around like $5, then added in at 7, and then around 11. That's when I started letting the trend ride. That was one of my big trend trades of last year. Now, am I saying that this time we're going to have the same thing happen? No, but there are clues, or these are rather clues that we can keep an eye out on for us to be better prepared in case we do see other things lining up as well. So let's go on over to the BNB chart quickly before we start with BTC, of course. I do want to show you guys something really interesting. Over here, you might be putting in a rising wedge leading into the 200 moving average, leading into the cloud over here. Currently seeing some resistance, so let's keep an eye on it. Let's go back to the previous bear market and we had something a lot similar, right? Rising wedge into the cloud, into the 200 moving average, and breaking on over to the upside, testing the 200 moving average right over here, and boom, 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 boom. Now the question is, do we see the same thing happen over here? Boom, 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 boom. Hey, who knows, right? But we will be keeping an eye out for certain signs to be better prepared to take advantage of that. Oh, and by the way, this is a really, really good example of a rising wedge that is bearish that can break on over to the upside. People think that just because a formation is bearish or bullish means it needs to break into that direction, right? No, a bearish formation can definitely have continuation on over to the upside, and a bullish formation can definitely have continuation on over to the downside. Why am I using the word continuation? If you guys are on the Mango C program, you guys know exactly what I mean, but essentially a bearish formation is actually a upward trend, right? So right over here, this is perfect example, right? Bearish continuation, broke on over to the upside and starts trending to the upside very, very aggressively. And these were really, really good days. Okay, so now the question is, what is Bitcoin up to? Yes, we talked about BNB. Yes, we are seeing a lot of altcoins still stay green with their upward trends intact. What's Bitcoin up to? Well, Bitcoin also did something really interesting with today's close. We did close a 2-day candle today. This one right here is the brand new 2-day candle, but this candle right here is the interesting one. Let's go ahead and turn on the mango ribbon, and I was watching this one very, very closely. I woke up this morning especially to watch this, and what do you know, guys, we closed above this 10 SMA. And over here at the Mango Grove, we've been watching this 2-day 10 SMA very, very closely, right? Ever since around here actually, and we've been watching this 2-day 10 SMA support Bitcoin really, really well. Look at this move right over here on the 29th of March. We came down, bounced off it aggressively, and then simply shot on over to the upside, right? Making it its way all the way up to the Kijun, closing above it as well. And then when we lost all of it, when we lost the Kijun, when we lost the 21 EMA on the 2-day, where did we find support? On the 10 SMA yet again. So I wanted to see if this would hold up on today's 2-day candle close. What do you know? We were living down in this area for the longest time, 6,700, 6,600, but Bitcoin pulled through right at the end, right towards the 2-day candle close, and closed very, very well over the 10 SMA. Oh, by the way, the mango ribbon right over here is completely free. It is a really, really good indicator that will make your life convenient. You will find the link down below in the description to get access to your free mango ribbon indicator. So going back to what we were saying, the 10 SMA has been holding up Bitcoin for a while now, providing Bitcoin with some good support, and well, it did that again today. Does that mean though that we are going to simply shoot on over to the upside from here? No, but it does give us a clue. It does make us pause and be like, okay, maybe, just maybe, the tides are changing. Perhaps. I am not convinced yet, but we are seeing signs across other markets as well. Are those signs strong enough? No, not by a long shot. All right, there are certain differences between the market back in the bottom that we put in back in 2019, 2018 versus the bottom that we may be putting in over here. Okay, and the biggest difference is the lack of the roundedness, right? Is that a word? Roundedness. But if you guys do think back to when we initially had this move all the way down to around $4,000, we discussed a potential scenario where Bitcoin puts in a bottom followed by a consolidation that looks similar to an ascending triangle, right? We're looking for something like this, right? More rounded. But perhaps I got my time frame wrong. I was looking for that to happen on the daily, perhaps even the 12-hour, the 2-day time frame, right? Somewhere on the higher time frames, the mid time frames at the very least. However, could we be seeing it on the lower time frames? Could we be seeing that rounded formation on the 4-hour time frame? And should this be our indication that, hey, maybe Bitcoin may want to be putting in a bottom in this region over here and then just shoot on over to the upside? Far too many people are bearish, but that is not good enough reason for you to turn bullish. All right, never should be a good enough reason. You shouldn't just, by the nature of being a counter trend trader, or contrarian trader is the word I'm looking for. Do not be a contrarian trader just because it's cool to be. All right, there's a time to be a contrarian and there's a time to follow the trend. I am just throwing out situations just to get you guys thinking. All right, I want you guys to always be thinking and brainstorming. Don't get too one-sided on being a bull or being one-sided on being a bear. Look at everything around you right now, because these are pivotal times that could lead to major wins to either direction. All right, and can protect you at the very least. So do not get too headstrong on anything. So what am I seeing over here? If you're just looking at this over here, this is not bullish. All right, this is not bullish, not after what happened in this juncture over here especially. Okay, but we'll get to this area in a bit. If you're looking at just this zone over here, it does look like a rising wedge, right, or a rising channel, whatever you want to call it, which is a consolidation or a distribution pattern after having a leg towards the downside. Okay, but I just showed you guys an example of a rising wedge that broke on out to the upside. That was BNB. Another indication that, hey, do not get too headstrong on anything, right? Now you guys might be thinking, God, Sean, is trading this hard? Yes and no at the same time. It is only hard if you let it be hard, right? can just wait for confirmation on your thesis and then take the trade, and when you're wrong, you get out of the trade. It is as simple as that. You're not going to be right every single time. You want to put the probability on your favor to be right enough times with big enough wins to make your losses completely trivial or insignificant. Okay, but enough of that. We were talking about rounded bottoms, and you guys know how much I love rounded bottoms. We were looking for our rounded bottom on the daily time frame. Perhaps we should have been looking for it on the lower time frames. And if you guys do remember, I think Krisha pointed out this rounded bottom over here. This inverted head and shoulders on the 4-hour time frame looks pretty clear, right? Kinda, I don't know. Is this an inverted head and shoulders? I don't know, guys. I wasn't looking at it as such, but perhaps it was. Was this it? But overall, though, the sharpness of this makes me question that this is the bottom, right? But then when you take into consideration the fact that order book depth had completely got flowed, liquidity had disappeared, the spread between the bid and the ask was getting wider and wider, perhaps that explains the sharpness of this move instead of getting that rounded bottom. Or we are just getting impatient and we may actually see that leg down and then we see that rounded formation. Or the next more horrific situation is that we actually make new lows. All right, so do not discount anything. We are seeing signs that make us shake our head a little bit. Hey, what the hell is going on over here? Why are we not seeing continuation? Was this not supposed to be a rising wedge? Why is Bitcoin taking its time over here? So let's go ahead and talk about this. If you're looking at this as a rising wedge and we've broken on over to the downside, got the retest of the wedge, push down again but not seeing a immediate continuation, the question is, do we really need to see big red thick candles every single time Bitcoin has a dump? No, right? Sometimes before the momentum really picks up, it builds into a downtrend first. Let's go back to our rising wedge that we discussed yesterday that led us all the way to 10K. Remember how we were being very cautious about this one too, even though we were trading it to the upside. We were watching for the channel, right? And we got the channel. How do we draw it? I don't even remember how we drew it. Something like this, right? Doesn't matter. Oh, I think that was right. Okay, so something like this, broke onto the downside, got the retest. Did we see continuation immediately? Each one of these candles is 4 hours. Right now, everybody's looking for action almost every single moment. How many 4-hour candles did we spend over here compared to the 4-hour candles that we spent over here before seeing that major thrust to the downside? And even then was what? Let's see, something like good 24 bars. That was 4 days, right? 4 days. I suppose 2 2-day candles. We could wait a little bit more. Pushed on over to the upside, right? It was trending, guys. We put in a lower high to the downside, lower low, lower high, lower low, and continuation. Put in that bear flag like formation again over here. We saw the bear flag break, we didn't see continuation immediately, right? Saw a little bit of a rounded formation, pushed up for another low high. Actually, this was a nice little trap over here, catching a lot of people out, pushing to the upside, swing failure pattern, boom 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 boom. Okay, we can go over this, but the point is sometimes it just requires being patient. The thing that is confusing a lot of people might be looking at the high time frames now, and usually the high time frame is supposed to make things clearer. If you take out, if you just remove even your mango ribbon and just mark out your horizontals on the 2-day, you'd be looking at this zone right over here, right? And did we close above it? Actually, yeah, we did. Right above that, right above it we closed. So this may be what is confusing a lot of people. Is this giving you confidence to go long though? You don't have to be going either long or short. You could simply stay on the sidelines. You do not need to be chasing every single candle, guys. And I feel like that's what is happening over here. Do not just wait for things to be clear. If you did not get a good position, I'm long all the way from I'm short all the way from around 7,200ish. If you guys do remember, when I wasn't feeling too confident at around 7,380ish, I did not go all in. I waited for the confirmation, right? And what was my confirmation on the 2-day candle? Losing that 21 EMA. And as long as we are underneath that 21 EMA on the 2-day, I am comfortable holding on to this position. That being said, on the lower time frames, we do have some clues that may give us an earlier sign that, hey, this trade might be beginning to turn around. And essentially what I'd be looking for is a pop over the cloud and 2 4-hour candle closes above the cloud over here, which lines up with what the Kijun as well. So we'll not only be taking out the top of the cloud but also the Kijun. That would be a very, very good indication. But remember, I'm looking for 2 4-hour candle closes. A single 4-hour candle close is not enough. You may actually get faked out. In fact, right over here, this is a really, really good example, right? Closed above the 21 EMA and the 10K. This is this one was really nice because I was talking to Krisha about this. Essentially, I was like, this is likely going to be a fake out. The next 4-hour candle is going to lose both the 21 EMA and the 10K, and we're likely going to put in a lower high over here, and we might actually be doing that. It's not confirmed. Actually, no, it is confirmed. No, this is now a lower high. The question now is, do we put in another lower low by taking out 6,552, right? Take it slow and steady. We may actually see an edge-to-edge trade again. Well, we didn't technically make an edge-to-edge trade over here because we didn't get to the bottom of the cloud, right? But I was targeting the flat of this bottom over here. I did get a question on this, someone asking me, hey Sean, how did you target 6,556? I was targeting 6,650-ish, and he felt bad that he did not get the entire move. He didn't capture that last $100. Listen, you do not need to capture the entire move, man. I'm talking to all of you, okay? If you start obsessing or start feeling bad about profits because you did not capture the whole move, you're going to drive yourself nuts. You are going to drive yourself nuts, okay? Do not try to capture the entire move. Try to capture the meat of the move and just move on. And I think a big part of this, and I'm going to go off on a little bit of a sidetrack over here, a big part of it is because you guys are looking at the dollar value that you guys missed out on and looking at how much that could have bought you in real life, right? So let's say you're taking a 5 BTC trade and you missed out on $100 more of profit. So that's like $500 more that you could have made, right? So you're basically taking that $500 and being like, hey, I could have bought a PS4 and a few games or something like that. You're thinking, hey, don't do that because it's a recipe for disaster. And I wish I could go into the psychology of it, but I don't have the time to. I don't want to dive too deep into that today. Okay, so going back to what we were talking about, if we do close 2 4-hour candles above this Kijun right over here, sitting at around 7,000, let's say 7,050, if you take into consideration the top of the cloud as well, you can zone this out, the Kijun as well as the top of the cloud. So 7,050-ish, right? 2 4-hour candles above there, and I'll be looking at pretty much the top of this juncture right over here, hey, which actually lines up with the retest of the wedge. What do you know? But I really don't think the wedge is going to play resistance for the second time. We may, but if we do get up over here, I will be looking for the move all the way up to that 7,700 region, which lines up with our weekly levels. All right, we can go ahead and show that, but before I go there and lose track of what I was talking about, we talked about the upside move, right? If we close 2 4-hour candles above 7,050, if we close candles underneath the cloud over here, or you can even looking at this zone right over here around 6,850-ish to around 6,007-ish. 6,607, sorry, this zone over here, or to be safe, you can simply look for a single 4-hour candle close underneath 6,561. That's what I'd be looking for, quite honestly. Even a tick underneath 6,561, 6,550-ish actually, and I'll be looking for a move quickly down to 6,375. After that, probable bounce over here on the 200 moving average, a retest of the top of the cloud, and then we're looking towards 6,100. Now that is our key area, 6,100-ish, right? But a wick towards 5,800-ish, 5,950-ish, okay, is not out of the question. So what is the spill on over effect towards the downside that we're looking for? Okay, let's take this step by step. I'm leaning more towards the downside, even though we talked about this being a potential rounded bottom with a sharpness towards the upside, blah blah blah. Just to give you guys both sides of the scenario over here, I am still leaning towards the downside as long as we are living underneath that 2-day 21 EMA, or we are closing 4-hour candles underneath 7,050-ish, right? I need 2 4-hour candles above there to start looking towards the upside. For now, downside. So if we close underneath the 4-hour cloud over here, looking towards the 200 moving average first, then a possible retest to this major 6,500 region, which was always going to be a bounce area. This is also, by the way, the 2-day Tenkin. Okay, then after that, if we do come to retest, if we don't break back into the cloud and come to retest the 200 moving average, you're likely going to crack it, spend some time, Okay, we're going too far into the future. Okay, but essentially what I'm trying to say is I think we are going to make our way down to the 6,100 region with a wick, with a wick down to 5,950. Now, why am I looking at those numbers? Because if you guys remember yesterday's video, I do recommend go ahead and watch yesterday's video, because this is where everything stems from. We were looking at the weekly chart and we were targeting this 200 exponential moving average right over here, sitting at 5,900 region, right? We also have the 200 moving average, by the way, on the weekly, sitting at 5,651. Don't lose sight of the bigger picture, guys. And the bigger picture is the weekly as well as the monthly. On the weekly, all we've done over here is set in a low high compared to 10,300. Now, this is not a bad thing. We discussed this, Krish and I, in the video we did together, where I talked about how coming up over here and putting in a low high is not necessarily bearish in the long run, because now, moving forward, Bitcoin only needs to take out 7,450-ish to make in a high compared to taking out 10,500, right? So it's not all bad news. Being bearish doesn't mean you're bearish on the asset. Some things just take time to flip towards bullish price action. All right, take into consideration the entire dynamic around you as well, the world economy, etc., and think about the decisions you want to make. I am not a financial advisor by any means. Most of the time I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyways, guys, do not listen to me. Okay, so essentially this area over here does prove, or does form a nice base for Bitcoin to come and put in a higher low compared to these guys over here. Okay, so that's essentially where I was going with this before I digress. So we put in a lower high over here, depending on, people are going to argue about this, I don't care. Put in a high over here, put in a lower high over here, put in a lower low over here for sure. And do we put in a higher low over here? That is the question. We don't want to put in a lower low. If we do, then hey, further downside we'll be seeing. Okay, and we don't want to talk about that just yet, but we'll get there when we do. We'll talk about it when we get there. That being said, should I talk about Link? I'm tired today, guys. I'm really tired, but let's go ahead and do it. Shake it off. Link on the weekly, looking strong. Holy, closing the weekly above the 10K over here, a really good sign. Did we actually close above this horizontal over here as well? Whoa, I already have this chart marked up. Of course I have this chart marked up. Okay, so not a bad close at all, actually. A really good close. I'd like to see Link close above this blue zone over here as well, but this weekly close was actually pretty good. I hope this wasn't just a liquidity hunt over here. Link has done that in the past before. We've seen it happen. So open and a close is what we'd be looking for above this blue zone to be very safe. We can go ahead and look at the daily and then the 4-hour to see the signs of, hey, maybe this is turning around. And look at that. This blue zone over here is clearly our resistance, right? We've marked up this chart so well, guys. It's worked out so well, right? Link has been, like I talked about this in yesterday's video, I am seriously considering trading only Link, because it trades so beautifully, man. It trades so beautifully, and it does have the liquidity to trade too. Anyways, let's talk some charts over here. What is Link doing? Well, this blue box territory over here that is come off this M-like formation that we broke onto to the downside, meeting Krisha's measured move perfectly of around $2.06 to the wick, I think she called this, and then having some follow to the downside, meeting my eventual target of around $1.80-ish right over there, right? We actually got down to this horizontal to $1.55, so a lot of volatility to be had on the downside. As you guys can see, when you take the win to the upside, you have to be ready for the follow through to the downside. If you haven't taken profits, if you are a hodler of Link, hey, if you have the stomach to sit through it, you're back, right? You're back all the way to $3.50. If we do close above this yellow zone over here, above this yellow horizontal is what I meant, which lines up with this blue zone over here, which again is based off this M-like formation, then we are likely going to make our way back on over to the top of the M-like formation over here, sitting around $4.50. Are we going to do it immediately? Probably, I was going to say probably not, but actually considering the volatility over here and how strong Link has been behaving, we actually might. I don't think this horizontal will play too much of, is that a weekly resistance line though? I don't want to. That is a weekly level. So I don't want to remove it. I will have to tidy up this chart, but I do think we could, on the daily, we could make our way all the way over here and then close underneath $3.85. So be careful about that too. What would be really nice though is to close a daily above this, test it one more time, and then make our way above. Okay, that would be the good trade. That's the trade that I'd be looking for. Another easy trade, of course, would be something like this, right? That would be a really nice trade too. But for now, we're seeing resistance over here, so it is more likely, looking at this over here, that we come down and test the 21 EMA. We also have the 200 EMA over there, and we also have the 200 moving average over here. How nice would it be if we get a retest of this zone over here? We did not really get that on the daily. We got on the 4 hour, I do believe. Let me go ahead and switch on over to the 4 hour. Yep, right over here, broke on over to the upside on the 4 hour, tested the top of the zone over here, came down beautifully. This is how beautiful it trades, man. Gave you a beautiful retest on the 4 hour time frame. All you had to wait was like around 12 hours, and then after that, what was that move to the upside? Such a beautiful chart. Oh my lord. Oh, what am I doing? I'm wasting my life trading Bitcoin. Anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it for today, guys. Link is doing Link things, right? If we lose the 4 hour 21 EMA, next target would be somewhere around here, $2.90, which probably gives us a wick onto $2.81, but that would lose the 4 hour trend, likely eventually put in a lower high over here, somewhere in the middle of the range at around $3.20, and then make our way down to $2.64. That's what I've been looking for actually right now. This is kind of looking weak. It does look like it wants to just drop on over. We do have what you could say is a rising wedge over here. Yeah, I suppose 1, 2, yeah, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Probably make another push towards the upside if it wants to get the third touch. Just surprise people who are looking for this move to the downside. We haven't lost the 21 EMA just yet, right? So we could make another push to the upside. Oscillators are showing some semblance of bullish divergence as well. So hey, we may get a surprise move and have a thrust to the upside. So who knows? But hey, this is all lower time frame stuff that depends on whether you want to play it or not. Again, just if this then that, right? If this then that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. My name is Sean Dexter. Throw it a like, throw it a subscribe, leave a comment down below. Let me know how much you liked it. Let me know how much you hated it. Either way, do it the mango way, do it the stress-free way. Ciao.